Welcome back, Love Labyrinth explorers. Today we're diving headfirst into the world of tough love. You know, that love that doesn't always feel like a warm hug, but sometimes more like a splash of cold water to the face.
Exactly, Emily. Tough love is often misunderstood. It's not about being harsh for the sake of it. It's about caring enough to be honest and direct, even when it's difficult. It's about helping someone grow by facing the truth.
And it's not just in romantic relationships, right? It can be with friends, family, even with ourselves. Sometimes we need that little nudge to get out of our comfort zones and tackle challenges head on.
Certainly, it's about setting boundaries and expectations. It's a form of love that encourages responsibility and personal development. But it's important to balance it with empathy and support.
Balance is key. You don't want to be a drill sergeant, but you also don't want to be a doormat. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing for growth without pushing someone away.
And that's why communication is crucial. You need to express your intentions clearly. Tough love without clear communication can lead to misunderstandings and resentment.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, hey, I'm doing this because I care, not because I want to hurt you. It's all about helping the other person see the bigger picture and grow from the experience.
In the end, tough love is a tool. Used wisely, it can strengthen relationships and build resilience. But like any tool, it requires skill and understanding to wield effectively.
So true, Dan. And that's what we're here to explore today. How to use tough love in a way that's constructive, not destructive. Stay with us as we share real stories, dive into the psychology, and offer strategies to navigate these challenges together. So, Dan, when we talk about tough love, it's often seen as this harsh, no-nonsense approach. But there's a lot more nuance to it, right? I mean, it's not just about being strict for the sake of it.
Absolutely, Emily. Tough love is about setting boundaries and sometimes having to be firm, but it's always with the intention of helping the other person grow. It's not about punishment, it's about guidance.
That's a great point. And, I've got this story that really illustrates what you're saying. There was a time when my partner was really struggling with procrastination, and it was affecting not just his work, but our plans together.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. What did you do?
Well, I had to sit him down and have a tough conversation. I said, look, I love you, but we need to find a way for you to manage your time better. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary.
And how did he take it?
He was a bit defensive at first, but he knew I was right. We worked out a system together, and it really helped us move forward. It was tough love in action, and it made our relationship stronger.
That's a perfect example of how tough love can be constructive. I had a similar experience when a friend was making some unhealthy life choices. I had to step in and say, this isn't good for you, and I can't watch you do this to yourself. It was hard, but it came from a place of caring.
It's all about that balance, isn't it? Being firm but fair. And I think it's important to remember that tough love isn't just about the other person. It's a two-way street. You have to be willing to receive it as well.
Definitely. It requires a level of trust and respect in the relationship. You have to believe that the person giving you tough love truly has your best interests at heart.
And that's what makes it so powerful. When done right, tough love can lead to personal growth, better communication, and ultimately a deeper connection.
Exactly. It's not the easiest path, but sometimes it's the most necessary one. And the stories we've shared today really highlight the positive outcomes that can come from embracing tough love in our relationships.
So, diving right into the heart of today's topic, tough love is often seen as a bit of a paradox, isn't it? On one hand, it's about caring deeply, but on the other, it can come off as quite harsh.
Exactly, Emily. It's a balance between support and challenge. Psychologically speaking, tough love can be a tool for helping someone grow. It's about setting boundaries and sometimes providing that necessary push.
I love that, a necessary push. But let's not forget the emotional side of it. It can be really tough on the giver too, right? You want to be kind, but you also know you need to be firm.
Certainly, it's a complex dynamic. Research suggests that the effectiveness of tough love really depends on the relationship's foundation. Trust and mutual respect are key components for it to be received positively.
And that's where communication comes in. It's not just about being tough, it's about being clear why you're taking that stance. It's love, after all, not just toughness for toughness' sake.
Right? And from a psychological perspective, the way tough love is administered can significantly impact a person's self-esteem and motivation. It's about empowering, not belittling.
Empowering, yes! Like, I believe in you, but I also believe you can do better or make smarter choices. It's like a coach who's tough, but ultimately wants to see their athletes succeed.
And speaking of success, studies have shown that tough love can lead to long-term benefits, like increased resilience and better coping strategies, if, and it's a big if, it's done with empathy and understanding.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about that emotional intelligence, isn't it? Knowing when to push and when to give a little slack. It's a dance, and both partners need to know the steps.
Precisely. And let's not forget, the timing and context are crucial. Tough love isn't appropriate in every situation. It's a strategy that should be used judiciously.
Couldn't agree more, Dan. It's about finding that sweet spot where challenge meets support. And that, dear listeners, is the psychology behind tough love.
Well summarized, Emily. It's a nuanced approach that, when applied with care, can strengthen relationships and foster personal growth.
So, diving right into the heart of today's topic, navigating challenges together, I think it's super important to acknowledge that every couple faces hurdles, right? It's like totally normal.
Absolutely, Emily. And it's not just about facing them, but how you face them together that really counts. Let's talk strategy. Communication is key. It's the cornerstone of any successful relationship.
Oh, for sure. Like, when my partner and I hit a rough patch, we make it a point to have these no-judgment zones where we can talk about anything. It's all about creating a safe space for each other.
That's a great approach. And it's important to be direct, but also empathetic. You want to be clear about your feelings without making the other person feel attacked.
Totally. And it's not just about talking, but also listening, right? Sometimes you've got to be all ears and really hear what your partner is saying.
Right. Active listening can make a world of difference. It's not just about waiting for your turn to speak. It's about understanding your partner's perspective.
And let's not forget the power of teamwork. Like, when you're both committed to working through things together, it's like you're this unstoppable force.
Exactly. It's about tackling the problem, not each other. You're on the same team, and the goal is to find a solution that works for both of you.
Oh, and speaking of solutions, sometimes it's okay to agree to disagree, right? Like finding that compromise where you both give a little to get a lot.
Compromise is essential. It's about balance. You won't always see eye to eye, but you can respect each other's viewpoints and find a middle ground.
For sure. And hey, remember, it's okay to ask for help if you need it. Like, seeking out a relationship counselor can be super beneficial.
I agree. There's no shame in getting professional guidance. It can provide you with tools and strategies to strengthen your relationship.
Absolutely, and it's all about that journey, right? Growing together, learning from each other, and becoming stronger as a couple.
Indeed, it's a continuous process. Challenges are opportunities for growth, and navigating them together can bring you closer than ever.
All right, Love Labyrinth listeners, it's time for our favorite part of the show, the Q&A with you. We've got some tough love scenarios you've sent in, and we're ready to dive in. Dan, ready for the first question?
Absolutely, Emily. Let's get to the heart of these questions.
Here's one from Alex in Toronto. Alex asks, how do you show tough love to a partner who's making unhealthy life choices without coming off as controlling or unsupportive?
That's a great question, Alex. The key is to communicate your concerns without dictating their actions. Express how their choices affect you and the relationship, and offer support for positive changes.
I totally agree, Dan. It's all about that balance between caring and respecting their autonomy. Next up, we have a question from Priya in London. She writes, my partner and I are constantly arguing about finances. Is tough love appropriate in this situation?
Money matters can be a major source of tension, Priya. Tough love might mean setting clear boundaries and expectations about spending and saving. It's not about being harsh, but about being honest and working towards a solution together.
For sure, and sometimes bringing in a third party like a financial advisor can help ease the tension. All right, here's one from Michael in Sydney. He's curious, can tough love help when my partner and I have different parenting styles?
Parenting is all about teamwork, Michael. Tough love in this context means having frank discussions about your parenting philosophies and finding common ground. It's important to present a united front to your children.
Absolutely, Dan. It's about compromise and consistency. Oh, and look at the time. We've got to wrap up our Q&A segment. Thank you all for sending in your questions. Remember, tough love isn't about being tough on each other. It's about loving each other enough to face tough situations head on.
Well said, Emily. And to our listeners, keep those questions coming for our next Q&A session. Your insights make the Love Labyrinth the special place it is for exploring the pathways of modern love.
Wow, Dan, what a journey we've been on today. I feel like we've really delved deep into the heart of tough love and come out the other side with some incredible insights.
Absolutely, Emily. It's been an enlightening discussion. We've seen how tough love isn't just about being strict or harsh, but it's a form of caring that encourages growth and resilience.
And we've heard some touching stories from our listeners and ourselves. It's clear that while tough love can be challenging, it often comes from a place of deep affection and concern.
That's right. It's important to remember that the intention behind tough love should always be positive. It's about helping someone you care about to overcome obstacles and achieve their potential.
Communication is key, isn't it? We talked about how vital it is to be clear and understanding when navigating these tough love moments.
Definitely. Without clear communication, tough love can be misunderstood and can lead to resentment. It's crucial to have that open dialogue and ensure that both parties are on the same page.
And let's not forget the psychological aspects we touched on. Tough love can be a powerful tool, but it's not one size fits all. It's about knowing the person and understanding what approach will truly help them.
Exactly. It's about balance and knowing when to push and when to hold back. As we've discussed, it's about being supportive while also setting boundaries and expectations.
Before we wrap up, I just want to say a huge thank you to our listeners for their questions and for sharing their experiences with us. It's been so rewarding to engage with you all on this topic.
Indeed, thank you to everyone who contributed. As we conclude, let's remember that tough love is a part of the intricate labyrinth of relationships. It's not easy, but it's often necessary for growth and strength.
So to all our listeners out there, keep communicating, stay compassionate, and remember that tough love, when done right, is an act of kindness. Thank you for joining us on the Love Labyrinth.
We hope you found this episode helpful and that you'll take these insights into your own relationships. Until next time, take care and navigate your relationships with care and understanding.